Today, we will look at Tolkien's world through the lens of guitar-driven progressive music, mixed with elements of folk and, of course, Celtic sounds. This unique blend can work to perfection, as evidenced by the brilliant discography of our today's guest. Join us for this special 150th episode. Hello, my name is Maciej and I would like to welcome you to the charming Green Dragon Inn. Normally in our podcast, I prepare and tell you about interesting stories from Professor Tolkien's texts, as we analyze them together with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Kasia, and in addition to discussing parts of the books together, I support Maciek linguistically, especially when we discuss Tolkien's original writing or talk in English as we do today. I also take care of the technical side of our podcast.
Another member of our podcast team is Ola, who is the co-host from time to time and take care of our social media. And the last but not least member is Nikodem, who is responsible for all the audio editing and special effects.
The Green Dragon Inn is a friendly place for all travelers. Here, you will be able to wander together with us through the immensely rich works of Professor John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, because we analyze his texts a few paragraphs at a time in each episode. We delve into the history, interesting facts, and some humor. We also compare our native Polish translation of the professor's works with each other and to the original text.
In our conversations, we rely heavily on already existing material, which forms a very sizable Tolkien's collection. That is the base of books on which we focus when preparing each episode. However, everything is done in a very inn-like manner, as a loose and casual conversation between us, and sometimes between our special guests who regularly visit the inn.
If you wanted to learn more about our podcast, we encourage you to check out episode number 0 or the trailer. There we talk a bit about ourselves and, above all, about the very form, inspiration and goals of our podcasting. Take a seat in our inn under the Green Dragon, prepare yourself a pint of good drink, and we begin our today's journey to Middle-earth.
Our guest today hails from British Isles. Although he traveled the world extensively in his youth, he has now settled in Bradford. Naturally, he is a lifelong fan of Tolkien and his work. He transferred his fascination with Middle-earth into musical inspiration.
He's a songwriter, composer, multi-instrumentalist, and, above all, a guitarist in his own solo project, released under his own name. Through which he has released 4 full-length albums based on true story, Not All Those Who Wander Are Lost, Return to Arda, and his latest release, The Fellowship.
His music is a blend of progressive rock, beautiful instrumental guitar, and Celtic motifs. In terms of technique and craftsmanship, he cites one of the world's most renowned solo guitarists like Steve Vai and as a key inspiration.
Dear listeners, it's time to welcome a brilliant musician and a composer, Dave Brons. Welcome, Dave.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Dave.
listeners. Hello.
Great to have you here. It's a pleasure to meet you and pleasure to talk with you. So
It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
okay, let's start with our 5 standard questions that we ask all our guests that are the first time on our podcast. So the first question is normally mine. For how long have you been reading Tolkien's books?
Well, I probably read The Lord of the Rings first. I think I was pretty young. I was maybe 10 or 11. And I'm now, so about 40 years. So I just turned 50. I'm so old now. So yeah, it's been a lifelong kind of love affair, really.
Okay.
Reading Tolkien.
So you started with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, so the reason for that is because I grew up in Spain. My parents moved over there when I was about 6 years old, and so that we wouldn't forget English, my parents spoke to us in English, but we always answered in Spanish. So in order to keep us on the side of reading English, they got people to send us books. And someone sent me The Fellowship, and it had an amazing cover. It was one of the 79 edition. It had like a picture of sort of the Shire and stuff like that, and it just drew me in. So I read it before reading The Hobbit. So I know most people do it the other way around. They read The Hobbit first, but I started with the Fellowship.
It's not that rare. For example, I also started with Lord of the Rings, and then I think I read The Hobbit like a couple years after that, because it's in Poland it was one of the mandatory books you need to read at school. So of course I didn't. And so it was. So I was discouraged, but then I liked it.
But did you like it from the beginning? Did you like the Lord of the Rings, or you need a second attempt to really enjoy the Middle Earth?
No, I liked it straight away. I don't think I fully understood what was happening on the first read, but I remember being really scared of like the Barrow Wights and that scene, and being really terrified of the chase by the Black Riders and stuff like that. So definitely the Fellowship made an impression. I think it was it was maybe a few years later that I managed to get Two Towers and the Return of the King. But yeah, I definitely got into it a bit as a kid, but I returned to it more as an adult. Just before the Jackson movies came out, I decided to really reread them all again. And yeah, definitely. And then I was really hooked. So, yeah.
So it's a lifelong love and passion.
Yeah, absolutely. The sort of thing for me with Tolkien, the reason why I think I return and again, we have a phrase, it's like chicken soup for the soul. And I think the thing I love about Tolkien is he's never in a rush. And so I'm a person who, as a musician, I just work all the time. And Tolkien's just a real chance to slow down and just get into the description of landscapes and the characters. So I think that's why I return to Lord of the Rings. I read it probably every 2 years. I read the whole series again, and every time I read it, I discover new things. I think loads of Tolkien fans say the same, don't they? That you just, once you get in there, you just don't ever want to leave Middle Earth, you know? So yeah.
Great.
Just keep going back.
Okay, so on this topic, do you have a favorite quote or saying from Tolkien's works?
That's such a hard. Yeah, I mean, it changes all the time. I'll tell you what my favorite one at the moment. I'll just read it to you actually, because I'm just reading through. It's the bit where Sam has to go and rescue Frodo, and it's just it's the bit where he goes, though here at journey's end I lie, in darkness buried deep, beyond all towers strong and high, beyond all mountains steep. Above all shadow rides the sun, and stars forever dwell. I do not say the day is done, nor bid the stars farewell. And the reason I love that quote is because it's just so optimistic. So the situation is Sam has lost all hope, and then suddenly, unbidden, this song comes into his mind, which as a musician, I just love that idea of the power of music. And then it's just this turn, I guess this theme of Tolkien, which is hope against all the odds. Mm-hmm. And that poem, that's probably my favorite one at the moment, just because I feel it just really calls to that thing where we've got to have hope and we've got to take action. Like Sam didn't just hope and sit on his hands, but he had hope, and that hope was the fuel for him to go and attack those orcs and rescue his friends. So
yeah, great.
So that's my favorite one at the moment. It'll change though. Next week it'll be a different one.
Okay.
There's a lot to choose from.
Yeah. And it's also connected to your actual mood and everything. So Okay, Dave, what is your favorite place from the whole Legendarium to choose for your retirement? Did you thought about this?
Easy. Lorien.
Oh,
Lorien. Easy.
Because of music?
Just the forest.
Because of Elvish music?
I know people tend to say Rivendell, but my happy place has been in the forest. I'm a real outdoors person, and when I go wild camping, I take my hammock and my tarp, and quite often I take my book and sit in the woods and read. So for me, the idea of retiring to Lothlorien with those huge trees and the flats and the lookouts, and yeah, I want to live there now. I don't want to wait till I retire.
Yeah, I think the Shire and Rivendell are the top answers here for this question usually. But we have a few original ones, like going to Numenor, or even canoeing on Anduin.
Canoeing on the canoeing on the Anduin would be good.
Adventurous.
Yeah, you still have to porter it over Song of Beer though, so there's that. That'll be hard work.
Okay, and for our listeners who cannot see it, but Dave has his camera on and has many guitars in his background. But we are not asking for how many guitars do you have, but how many books written by Tolkien or about Tolkien do you have in your collection?
Okay, I haven't officially counted them. Just like my guitars, I don't tell my wife how many Tolkien books I actually have as how many guitars I have. But I have, I've got all the Lord of the Rings probably 3 or 4 times, different editions. I've got a few Hobbits, a couple of Silmarillions. I've got Carpenter's autobiography, Tolkien's Letters, the latest edition. Most of all the stuff that is actually written that's within the Legendarium, I have Children of Húrin and all that kind of stuff, Unfinished Tales. So yeah, just loads, but I don't know how many books. I tell you what though, I'm after, there's an edition, the Ballantine edition of Lord of the Rings, with the covers by Pamela, I can't remember her name, but the ones from the 1969, I want those 3 so I can display them, because that's my favorite Lord of the Rings artwork. So if anybody has 3 they want to sell them, get in touch. I want them.
Okay.
And do you still buy new books currently or not?
I have a list, and I just usually birthday, Christmas time. I ask for more. So I got the Father Christmas letters. I got last Christmas, and was kind of annoyed that I hadn't bought them while my kids were still little, because they're brilliant. So I just keep buying stuff as I go along. I've loved the Tolkien Reader's Guide by Wayne. Was it Wayne
Hammond?
Man, yeah. I need to
Hammond
get
and
that.
Christina Scarl. Yes, we have this very great book. It's a great book.
Okay,
and you have a lot of books about Tolkien, so some kind of monographs and scholars that have written something about Tolkien, or you have only books that Tolkien, J.R.R. and Christopher have edited and published.
Mostly just stuff they've done. I do have a few things, like I have some stuff by John Garth and things like that, but I tend to prefer just reading what is written rather than the scholarly works, if I'm honest. Mm-hmm. But I've bought quite a few of those as well. But I find myself just thinking, this is good, but I'd rather just read. Sorry, Tolkien scholars. A lot of my knowledge on for the Lord of the Rings stuff in terms of putting into the album comes from listening to the Prancing Pony podcast. Mm-hmm. So I started listening to the Prancing Pony podcast during lockdown. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm researching for the albums, I love listening to what Sean and Alan and his new co-host Sarah Brown and everyone is saying about the chapters, and that really helps me, and it's really particularly helped me with the fellowship on choosing themes and highlighting things in the lyrics and the music. So yeah, I tend to be more podcasts rather than reading books.
Okay, great.
When it comes to that stuff, yeah.
I think we discovered Prancing Pony podcast not during the pandemic, but a bit before. Yeah.
You think before or before? Yeah, maybe.
And then Matthew started listening all the time. From zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they invited me on as a guest way back, and that's kind of when it started. So that was around about lockdown. Yeah.
Okay. Great. The last question from our first five. If you could choose one character to go on a quest to Mount Doom and destroy, or at least try to destroy the One Ring, who would it be and why? From the whole Legendarium, not only from the Lord of the Rings.
I'm going to go with Eowyn, because she's just such a badass, and I think she'd be good company.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice.
Yeah, my favourite bit is the bit where Eowyn kind of confronts the Witch King. That's. I remember reading that like as an adult for the first time, just like punching the air, like going, "Go Eowyn, show that guy."
Yeah, great.
That's it. So yeah.
Great choice. Okay, so let's take a short break and then we will move to our main discussion.
It's time for our self-advertising, because we would like to remind you about our profile on Patronite.
This means that every one of you can financially support our activities from now on. Consider if you are willing and able to join the group of our patrons. We offer you quite a lot in return, starting with a dedicated Discord channel, additional materials, or the opportunity to join us during the recordings as a listeners, and various gadgets and gifts.
We invite you to join our Patronite. Your support will help us not only maintain the level of the podcast, but rise it even higher. You'll find links to our Patronite on our website. They will be also visible on YouTube and in other media.
But of course you don't have to do anything, because the podcast will continue to appear in the same form as before, absolutely for free. After all, we are Tolkien fans and we create out of pure passion.
We invite you to our Instagram and Facebook, when we regularly upload posts extending current episodes. Meanwhile, on our website you will find links to all the episodes along with footnotes and our library of books that we use to create it.
We also encourage you to support us on all the channels where you follow us. Your likes, ratings and reviews make us more visible. This means more Tolkien fans joining our in.
And as a result, we have more interesting discussions, so don't hesitate to ask questions or comment.
And we are back. Dave, tell us first, what led you to become a guitarist? How did you begin with playing guitar, and when did you realize that this is the path you wanted to make your life's primary vocation?
Sure. So I started pretty late. I started playing guitar when I was 15, in my final year at high school. I'd seen a guitarist called Steve Vai playing on TV, and I was just really blown away by the music. And I thought, I just really want to make music that's like the music that Steve Vai makes, and just started practicing guitar loads. I went on to study music, but didn't do well in my music exams at college. And so I went to university and studied Spanish and French, which is a real mistake. I then went to study guitar in London for a year. But yeah, so my story was, I didn't really turn professional until I was in my 30s. And a few things happened. The first thing that happened is I had my first kid, and we went to the registry office, and you have to give your job. And at the time I was a youth worker teaching kids that had been thrown out of school and stuff like that. And I had to put that on his birth certificate. I was like, really? I want to be a musician. It was kind of like, and then I also had like, I don't know why I'm laughing, because it's kind of a serious subject, but I also had kind of like a mental breakdown, like real depression. Mm-hmm. And I realized that, the reason I was suffering so bad from depression was because my life stream was to do music full time. And, the strange thing for me is, I realized I couldn't do the job I was doing anymore. So I quit my job to become a musician with no plan on how it would work. I just reached that stage where I think I was in such a bad place where the option of quitting my job and trying something impossible seemed like the best option. So yeah. And so I did that, quit my job. I put out the first single, which is a song called Star. Which is kind of my version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We did a huge video, and it just so happened that people liked it, and that was the beginning, really. So a eucatastrophe moment, as Tolkien might say.
Yeah. Exactly.
A sudden turn into the light. So that's how I started. Yeah.
Okay, and your beginnings as a professional musician was on YouTube, or did you release some kind of CDs? How it started to be professional musician?
Yeah, so I basically knew that I wanted a music video, and it's instrumental music, so no lyrics. So I wanted it to be quite cinematic and quite visual. So I had enough budget to record one song and do a video for it. From there, it seemed to go down really well. And I thought, well, I should probably do a full album. And I went to a concert of one of my heroes, a guy called Dave Bainbridge. And he played in one of my favorite bands from when I was a kid, a band called Iona, and I asked him if he'd play a solo on my album, and all my bandmates were saying he'll never play, he'll never go for it, but he said yes. And then I asked him to produce my album, and I realized that I didn't have any money left, so I did a crowdfunder, and I raised at the time £6,000 to get the album made, CDs made, pay all the musicians and stuff, and that was the start. I just started with about 100 to 150 fans, and that was enough really to like make a start. And I think the thing I realized really early on is that I'm never going to have mass appeal. Like, I'm never going to be like super famous, but because I've always started with community at the center, and it's like this team effort, I have a really small but super loyal fan base, and it's just grown with each album. I've done another crowdfunder, and the message gets out and more people come in, and and now I do it full time. So I'm a lucky boy.
Yeah, great story.
Great story and inspiring.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
That's something new. I'm not in my 30s, so I could start all over again.
Yeah, it's. I guess the thing that's exciting about my story is that I have a YouTube account that's really small. I'm not on Spotify. I'm not anywhere, but it's just the people, it's just a small group of people. And somewhere on the internet, there's people who love Celtic rock and Lord of the Rings enough to buy my CDs. So, so that's
Maciej, actually, because I actually don't know, how did you came across Dave's music?
Actually, after the episode with Prancing Pony. So after this episode, I checked. And then I buy all the CDs. So it was the first 3 CDs at this moment. I buy them, and it was great. So it was phenomenal. And yeah, I thought that. And then last year, Oxenmoot, actually I was there completely alone. So I didn't know no one except from Magda. Magda is also from Poland, but she lives in Belgium. And we were on the trip to Oxford, and I saw Dave, and saw that he has written Dave Brons on the and I asked, "Are you really Dave Brons?" And yeah, we started talking. Yeah, that was because for me it was really pleasure, and meet someone who I listen to your music. Yeah, I do it this in my free time as my own choice. So that's great, and then that's the guy. It was amazing for me.
I hope it wasn't too disappointing to meet me.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, you're a great guy for sure. And yeah, we spent a lot of time during this week in Oxford. So yeah, it was a great time, and I must say, Dave is a really, really great guy and funny guy, and really, really, it was great time. Yeah. For sure.
It was. It's good. It's good because I'd never been to Oxford before. So we were Yeah. So we didn't, I was no help at all. I didn't know where anything was or anything. So we were just lost together.
Yes.
That's the bonding.
Yeah. Survival.
But we talk a lot about music, about inspirations and because, I think we have almost the same background regarding music. So the next question is also about your music. Because your guitar has a very unique sound and style, and how long it took to cultivate to make your own style on playing the guitar, because it's really, really hard. It's hard to accomplish such a thing.
So, it's funny. I do get asked this from time to time. How did I get my own sound? And it's not something that I didn't really think I had my own sound, But one of the nicest things is when people say, I could tell it was you from just hearing a few notes. You have like a really distinctive way of playing. I guess like most people, I'm the combination of my influences. Like one thing I understood really early on is that there's no such thing as new art. It's just old art assembled in a new way or whatever. But I suppose the thing that I was really into was the sound of the Ullen pipes. Now, Ullen pipes are like the Irish version of the bagpipes. Mm-hmm. And so if you watch the film The Titanic or you've watched the Outlander, stuff like that, you can always hear the Ullen pipes. And they have this really mournful sound. And I became really entranced with a player called Troy Donockley, who now plays for Nightwish, and imitating the sound of the pipes on guitar. And I never thought anything of it, but after my first record was done, based on a true story, I sent it to one of my original guitar tutors, who's like this famous guitar player, and he's like, "Oh man, that bagpipes thing, I've never heard anybody do it the way you do it. You should definitely do more of that." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I will." So it was kind of other people had like the thing, and I just thought, well, I'll lean into that. So I'm known as in some circles as the bagpipe guy,
okay.
The bagpipe guitar guy, whatever, Yeah. So there.
And you talk about your inspirations, about your music that you listened before you started to play music, actually. And you talk about Steve Vai. Can you tell us something more about him, about your other inspirations? So,
Steve Vai was a huge influence because, he was a very sexy man in the day. So his music really influenced me. Joe Satriani was another one. Yngwie Malmsteen, the Swedish neoclassical shred guy, I really loved. Van Halen, obviously. Nuno Bettencourt. I guess all the same guitarists that kids that were growing up in the late 80s, early 90s were into. And then I draw a lot on classical influences. So Holst, Shostakovich, Stravinsky, film music so my music is very heavily classical and film oriented as well. So there's a lot of that kind of influence in there.
Okay. And did you ever meet Steve Vai live? I know the story.
I have met him. He signed my guitar. I had when I went to university, I spent a whole student loan on buying the 7-string Universe guitar off the front of Passion and Warfare. I have since. I recently gave that guitar away to one of my students. as a gift, which is kind of crazy. Okay. But he's a great player. It's called Josiah Biglands. If you go on my Instagram, you'll see I share his stuff. So he's a great player. And so this signed guitar by Steve I gave away. I've met him. He was really nice. I've also, on the 25th anniversary tour of Passion Warfare, I actually went backstage as well, because somebody who I know knew the touring guitarist. So I've met him a few times. Every time I meet him, I haven't been able to speak because it's really weird. I've never been starstruck, but the first time I met him, I was maybe 19, 20, and I was like, Steve, I think I love you. I think that's all I could get at. And then when I went back the next time, I was in my 40s, and I was like, this time I'm going to plan a thing to say. And the same thing happened. I kind of shook his hand and went, and I just didn't know what to say. And I said, thanks. He just laughed. So he just laughed. And I couldn't get my phone to work. I was really and so he took the selfie and stuff, and he just kind of thought it was funny. But it's really weird. Like, I've met quite a few of my heroes, but he's the only one where something weird happens. And I just turn into a fool who can't talk. But yeah, I don't know. There you go.
Yeah, it's a great story. Okay.
So you already mentioned that you have very small and loyal fan base, but at the same time you are widely regarded as one of the finest guitarists in the world. That's regularly confirmed by polls, rankings, etc. So have you been ever tempted to break into the mainstream or to have more mass audience?
I honestly, not really. Well, there's two things. I don't really think that I could break into the mainstream, really. But the other thing is one thing I have learned is that I really love doing my own music and working with who I want to work and playing as many gigs as I want to play. And so I have real control over how I spend my time, and I can make whatever music I want. There's no record company involved. Basically, I make the music primarily that I enjoy, that my bandmates enjoy because we write it together. And then I think about the audience and think, what are the people listening to this, the Tolkien fans, the Celtic, prog, metal fans going to enjoy? And so I can really do it on my own terms. I think once mainstream record companies get involved in things like that, you lose that autonomy. So I'm really happy where I am. I just love more fans so that, it's slightly more sustainable. So, but definitely, I don't want to be famous, basically, is what I'm saying. I just want to make music that I enjoy.
To be independent, to do your own music, that's the key. Yeah, I fully understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but still... Yeah.
Well, the last thing I'll say, the other thing is because I crowdfund my albums. So the last album I crowdfunded for £26,000. I don't know what that is in euros, but it's a fair amount. That's just like having a record deal, except I don't have to give it all back to the record company. I can hire whoever I want and make the music the way I want. So kind of got this little system working.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. And regarding working with musicians and such a stuff, how you arrange something like that to invite people from, you have, let's say, your band, so the musicians that are working with you through all the albums, and you have some guest musicians, also singers. And how do you work? So you give them freedom to create something that is that pass to your music, or do you have some ideas and you give them ideas and they only a little bit freedom to create something? How do you work with people?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the way the music works is primarily myself, John Biglands, who's the drummer, Sally Minier, who's the singer, and Mark Swift, who's the keyboard player. We kind of write the core of the music and we share that out. So even though my name is on the project, that's a shared activity. And then I do a lot of the kind of project management of steering the way it should go. For things like the choir and brass, those are my friends that I'm kind of saying, hey, I'm doing this album. Would you like to be on a prog rock album? And so all the brass and choir for this last record was arranged by Steve Bradnam, who's a proper brass arranger. So he did that just for the love of doing it. So it's the equivalent for him of playing football with his friends on a weekend, but he's a musician. So he gets all his friends together and he plays on my records. That is amazing. And the generosity of that is amazing. Then some of the superstars that I get on, like Troy from Nightwish and stuff like that, I literally just go and ask them, please, will you play on the record? With the expectation of them saying no. But more often than not, they say yeah. And that's just really amazing that some of these really famous musicians will agree to play on the albums. Now, in terms of freedom, my thing is that this is a community exercise, right? So I've got the drive to make it happen, but I invite everyone to come in on this and own their part of the music. So what that means is sometimes there's some things that I'm like, I'm not sure about that, but I'm going to trust them and what they want to happen in the music. And so I give people like as much freedom as I can, because right now, everyone's just making music at home on their own with their computers. Yeah. And I think the music is better because you've got all these people who are really invested in it, right? And they all really love Tolkien, especially John Biglands, who's the drummer. He's also an author, so he loves Tolkien. And they're also really invested in just the vision of excellence that we try and do, and the whole thing of filming on mountaintops and all that craziness. So yes, we're just a real community of creative people, and we're all trying to help each other. It's amazing. Yeah,
great. Yeah, that's great. Because sometimes, some people, there are music come from the name of the people. Yeah, they don't give freedom. They have just musicians that play his stuff, and that's it. So they have no
right to it.
No, exactly. So and that's, I think your way is better way, and that's what you say about making music at home and making music with people. It's really we can hear that on your music and in your CDs. That make a difference for sure. So
yeah. You know what? With the rise of AI, I think the thing of making music with other people is going to become more important than ever, because that's the joy, right? The joy is in the discovery together of these musical ideas, and just the excitement of someone bringing an idea and everyone hearing and thinking, that's amazing. Where could we use that? Do you know, that to me sounds like Gollum at the pool, like the Forbidden Pool. Oh yeah, come on, let's work on it like this. And then everyone gets excited for the story, like, oh, what kind of lyrics are we going to lyric, and everyone just gets involved. It's really, I just feel like I'm super privileged that I'm making music that people actually want to listen to with people that I really love, like really good. The best people I know are in my band. So, and the people I enjoy hanging out with the most are my bandmates. So it's really amazing. And I'm glad it comes across in the music because it's a real thing, Yeah.
It's common passion. So, yeah.
There is a saying that I like, that you cannot compete with somebody having fun, right?
Yeah. AI
Absolutely true.
Cannot compete with such a thing. Okay. And what point did you decide to focus your creative efforts on themes inspired by Tolkien's Middle-earth, and how significant a role does music play within the Legendarium? So how is your opinion about this?
So it happened again. It was just like this kind of special moment where I felt like life was getting a bit on top of me. And so I went out to my favorite place, this place in England called the Lake District. And they filmed some of the Star Wars lakes, scenes at this place called Thirlmere. And so I hung my hammock and tarp above this lake in the tree line. You can see the lake beneath you. And the rain was really falling. And I'm just sat. And I always used to put Lord of the Rings in. And I just started reading. And the rain's running off my tarp. And I just thought, man, because I always go to Tolkien to feel better and escape mental health problems, wouldn't it be amazing if I could make an album that when people can't read the book, they can just listen to the music and it takes them to Middle-earth? Mm-hmm. And that was just a light bulb moment. This idea of creating music that would transport people away from issues they're facing to Middle-earth became just a real obsession, if you like. And then with just Tolkien's themes of eucatastrophe, hope, there's just so much in there that you could, there's such a good lens to create music too, and to bring a message of hope, really. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the starting point. It was again another low point, and a place where Tolkien was like eucatastrophe. I just went bing. That's what I should do. So yeah, it was kind of, I discovered after that it's not a very original idea, because loads of guys done it, like Led Zeppelin, loads of bands, Blind Guardian and stuff like that. But I didn't know that at the time. So kind of, and now I didn't know this huge community of Tolkien fans existed either. So it's all been, I wonder what on earth I was doing, kind of, that I didn't know any of this stuff. But here you go. I've met you guys now through this, so it's so cool, right?
Yeah, this community is getting better, bigger, and
I think the first one or at least I knew, was Blind Guardian. I was twice on the concert.
About Led Zeppelin, I only discovered that they are inspired. So some of songs are inspired by Tolkien. I discovered just, I don't know, 3 years ago. So, but I did hear Led Zeppelin. They are great. So that's my kind of music. So I heard them for all my life. But still, I never know that some of the songs are from Legendarium. So yeah. Okay, and let's talk about your albums, because you have 4 albums. The newest we will talk.
The newest we listened last weekend in the car.
Yeah. Kasia was listening because I was listening before. So yeah, okay, but first of your albums based on true story. It wasn't really set in Middle-earth. Yes, it was something a little bit different. So can you tell about this album something more?
No, so based on a true story, it was just like all the songs I'd had from being sort of 15 and all the demos, and I just had this material that I then turned into an album. There's kind of, it is still designed as a sort of a concept album, but there's not really an obvious kind of theme to it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, then I did Not All Those Who Wander Are Lost, and the idea of that one was to be an overview from the Silmarillion all the way to going to the Grey Havens. Quite ambitious for like a 70-minute album. And I thought then I was done with Tolkien. I was like, okay, that's great. But that album was the one that really took off. To date, my second album is still my biggest selling album. And I think it's something to do with is in lockdown and people just wanted to escape. And that message that I was talking about earlier of kind of escape really hit a chord. Then we were in lockdown and we had to write another album and we couldn't get together. So we did Return to Order and we split the album between the three of us. At the time, it was myself, John and Daniel Day. And we agreed to write a third of the album each, separate, because we couldn't meet up. And the idea was it's like a love letter from the elves to Arda. So it was like about the sea, soil and sky, and 3 songs each. And then I was like, man, I'm not done with Middle-earth. I should probably do the trilogy, right? So now we've done the Fellowship.
Yeah.
2 Towers is going to be next. I've started writing it and then, and so on. So I'm going to be busy with Tolkien, I think, for the rest of my foreseeable life, to be honest.
Okay.
No.
And your first albums, there are less lyrics and more guitar, I think, and the newest album is a little bit different. And let's talk about the 3 albums a little bit more. So there are some kind of narrator, someone who explains the storyteller, yes, but there are no vocals, only guitars and solos and everything. And when you listen to these albums, you can hear many emotions played on your guitar, on all the instruments. And how is the process to put something like that, some emotions through guitar to listeners, to people who are on the other side of your music?
So when I write music, I think about it really visually. I'm always thinking, what does the movie scene look like that's going to go with this music? And I imagine somebody walking through Middle-earth, and obviously you have the inspiration of the Jackson films and things like that, sort of visually. And I'm always trying to create shadow and light and tension and release that kind of transports the listener. So that's why my albums are designed to be listened to from start to finish, because they take you to this, it's all light happiness, then it gets really dark, and then you have the happiness at the end. They always have like this kind of overall journey. But really, in terms of telling the story from just the guitar, I just imagine myself as being a singer, really, but without the lyrics. So that's how I did the instrumentals. But what I didn't want to do was do something like a kind of a second-rate Joe Satriani album. I wanted it to be where if you took the guitar out, the music would still be really good. So I put huge effort into all the orchestration and all that kind of stuff. That was the mindset.
And your newest, latest release, so the album titled The Fellowship, released in March 2026, if someone is listening to us in the future. There are some significant changes on this record. So most importantly, there are some songs with lyrics, with, let's say, standard. We have... how it is called, refrain and
verses and choruses.
Yes, exactly. I forget the words. So that's a significant change, but still everything is really progressive. So there are some changes of rhythm, and the drums are beating really, really differently, and everything is, changes. But still, lyrics. Let's talk about lyrics, because it's something really new.
Yeah, so what happened along the way is that Sally Mania, she was involved from the second album onwards, and each album she started getting a bigger and bigger involvement. And I think it was never a conscious decision, because there's still it's still about 50% instrumental, 50% with songs. But I think we always look for what tells the story the best. And so on the last album, there's a song called Mirror of Galadriel. And just the music was really stunning. And John wrote the lyrics for that. But the moment Sally started singing it,
Quistons on a knife edge, strand you will fall, but hope remains. It falls still.
It's just like pure magic, you know, like where I felt really moved. And even when I listen to that song now, I just feel really moved. And I think it's that thing of sometimes you need the lyrics to tell the story and a singer to sing it. And Sally's amazing. And then sometimes, like when we did the flight to the ford, I didn't really want to have lyrics of him saying, and the Black Riders are chasing us to the river. Here come the orcs or whatever. I just thought I'd be really cheesy and kind of sad. So we just put that stuff in instrumental, and the progressive rock nature really helps because we can change the time signatures, we can have violins and trumpets and crazy guitar lines, and
I just want to say this, in this song the guitar is really, really crazy. You know, this ending part. When it's flowing, like, you know, from sad to dynamics and everything, it's really, really fascinating moment. So I think without knowing the story or without knowing the titles of your songs, you can know that this is about something like Fly to the Ford, so something where action is really dynamic and something really important is happening, because you can hear this in your guitar and all the instruments that are harmonized with guitar. So it's a great song. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that comes across. And then the Mines of Moria is all instrumental as well. Yeah. And I just wanted people listening, I wanted their imagination to take them through the caves and imagine the encounter between Gandalf and the Balrog. I didn't really want to sing, you know, lyrics about that. I just wanted people to just close their eyes and be able to, like you say, hear and know exactly where in the story they are, even without somebody telling them. Yeah.
When I listen to this song, Mines of Moria, I concentrate on the drums. Because they are part of Moria, and even if I didn't know the title, I just hear it, and there are drums, and the drums are really significant in this song, I think, from my point of view. And I thought, this must be something about dwarves, something about maybe it's about Moria. And then I checked, yes, it's Moria. So
and you hear the drums in the deep start that track, and then as the track finishes, you just hear this boom. Yeah. Fading out because they've left Moria, and that's the drums in the deep. Yeah. Ace. Well, my work here is done.
I can admit that I listened the first time from the beginning to the end, like in full album, and it really plays well together. Like to listen from the beginning to the end in one piece. It's because sometimes if you listen to a whole CD or an album, you get like tired in the middle or something, and you stop. But here it was really the journey.
Exactly.
That's awesome. That makes me happy.
And also there's a lot of, some kind of stronger, harder riffs on your new album. So it's also, I think it's something that make difference from all the other albums, because, you know, song like Nameless Fear, the second song, and the Mines of Moria as well, they are really, really, you know, there's a little bit hard rock and heavy metal in this, so yeah. I really like it because that's my genre. I am more heavy metal musician. I'm just a fan of music and still I like it very much. So where is this the direction that you want to go, or it's only happens for some themes in the book?
I think metal is my background as well. I think it came more from wanting to tell the story. So Nameless Fear and the theme of that song just felt like it needed really heavy guitar. I think the other thing is to contrast the kind of ethereal beauty of Sally's vocals. We are trying to always paint in shadow and light. So if you have like this ethereal thing that Sally brings, we want to still kind of bring a bit of that kind of the feeling of threat that is also in Middle Earth, you know, the thing that we have to overcome. Because I think if there's no antagonist in a film, you haven't got a story, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, some of the heaviness is just creating like that contrast between the really pretty bits. Like Mirror of Galadriel is heart-achingly pretty. There's not really any heavy guitars on that. I don't even think there's even any drums on it. So it's just always those contrasts, you know, so that the listener feels like they've been on this journey, you know?
Yeah, and I want to ask about the ninth song, The Fellowship. So it's the song about, as I understand, it's a song about Council of Elrond, and that's what happened after Council of Elrond. So what was idea here? Because that's the question mark on this song from my point of view. What was your expression? What was your what is the song about? Let's ask such a question.
So the picture I had in my head was basically you've had this really unusual meeting of people that would never work together usually, right? So you've got, you've got elves, you've got dwarves, you've got men, and you've got hobbits and Gandalf, and they've come together despite their differences. They're going to unite for this common aim. Right, so they're going to forget their racism.
Okay.
In the case of the elves and the dwarves, they're going to work together. And so this theme had to sound super triumphant, and I'm visualizing them marching out of Rivendell together, like with all the enthusiasm of we're going to do this. And then halfway through the song, you get like this real change where it starts to get really heavy, and that's where they start to realize the meeting opposition. So there's the orcs and stuff like that. So we bring a bit, again, some of that kind of feeling of threat. But that song is kind of really representative of us in the band. We're this fellowship, you know, and thinking about the whole Tolkien community. Like that tune is the one I put on to get out of bed in the morning, because it's so kind of like, come on, let's go. So it's just that, it's that kind of like, I very much thought of my bandmates and like the whole optimism side of and craziness of being a musician as well when I'm doing that. It's a crazy pursuit. Nobody would do this if they wanted to earn decent money and have a sensible life. But here we are, we just living on the edge. So that's what the fellowship is about.
Okay. And just a follow-up question. In the fellowship, the song Fellowship, there is a main theme that appears many times in this song, but it's played differently. So once it's played on the guitar harder, then second time is softer, and the third time is played just some background music on the keyboard. So I think that's a great part of this composition, because you never know when this theme appears again, and you actually I was waiting for this theme to when it comes again, and then it comes with different characterization. So it was amazing. So such a songs are great, because if you have standard kind of songs, everything continues and goes on and is repeated again and again. And in this kind of music, in progressive music, something is sometimes appears only once in a song, and it's a great moment, and you want to hear it again, but it don't appear because the story don't allow to repeat the same moment. So that's a great part of such a music.
I'm glad you like that one. Yeah, we do a lot of things like that, linear compositions, where unlike a pop song where you get the verse, the chorus, the verse, the chorus, the guitar solo, the chorus, it just starts in a place and goes through. And then part of the skill is using exactly what you have just explained, which is using themes to unify the work. So on the second album, Not All Those Who Wander, there's the theme for the ring, and there's a theme, there's like 2 or 3 themes that appear in every song. They're just sometimes really hidden. And so those motifs repeat throughout the album as a way of doing a bit like what John Williams does in the Star Wars movies and Howard Shore does in the Lord of the Rings movie, where you have a theme to represent a people or and we try to do that a little bit. Yeah. So
Shire team and Isengard team and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and mentioning that, because I'm also always curious regarding the process around it. You're creating music based on Tolkien's works, and do you, or were you involved with negotiations with the Tolkien estate? Or for your rights?
I love this question. What it says on my albums is this album is inspired by the works of Tolkien, but is not endorsed in any way by the Tolkien estate. So it says that on every CD cover somewhere. It's a careful line I have to tread, so we try not to quote the book word for word or anything like that as much as possible, but we're inspired by the themes. I think the reality is I know that the Tolkien estate didn't even like the Peter Jackson's movies. So I feel like if I asked permission and they said no, that would put me in a really difficult position. So I decided my approach would be, and don't tell them this, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. So if I ever get so famous that they decide they want to send me a cease and desist, I'll be really sad, but I'll accept that and be grateful I've had a good run. But no, I've done it the way I've done it. I don't know if it's a good idea, but it's the only way I can kind of do it. And
the thing I think that's important to understand about my desire to use Tolkien as inspiration is that everybody in the band is a super fan of Tolkien's writing. And our desire really is for people to go and read the books because we love the books. And hopefully that comes across in the music, that it is a tribute. We're not trying to rip anything off or profit from the Tolkien estate, but rather we're just fans trying to point as many people, possibly new fans, towards Tolkien's works, and hopefully the Tolkien estate see that as a good thing?
The truth is, I'm not really like famous at all, really. So I don't think, I don't think they'll ever be that bothered,
And it's also, there are more creators that are using or are inspired by Tolkien. So I think that's not that extraordinary. Also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is I played at Oxenmoot.
Last year.
So it's not like they haven't come knocking after I played at Oxenmoot. So, that's that's the heart of Tolkiendom. I'm led to believe, right? So.
Yeah, but you did play a song that was without words, so maybe that's why they didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about concerts and gigs? How do you play? How do you manage to find time of all the people that are involved in your music, or do you only play with some part of your entire group that is appointed to this project?
Yeah, so as you can imagine, the music's so epic that you've got orchestras and choirs and brass sections and all sorts of things. So doing the music live for a fan base the size of mine would be a little bit challenging. I often get asked when I go to play in America, and I'm like, all my American fans could fit into one pub, so probably a tour would be a bit much. But the way we got around it is it last year or the year before? I can't remember now, but we did a huge concert near where I live. We booked a massive venue with video screens, and we had images projecting whilst we were playing, and we had the choir, the brass section, we had Ullin pipes and the whole band, and then we did a live DVD, or was it a Blu-ray? Live Blu-ray called Live in the Shire, and just played a set list, and that was really amazing. Next year we hope to do a 3 or 4 date tour in the UK, where we'll do 2 or 3 dates with a really cut back band, just us, the band and Sally, and maybe an Ullin pipe player. And then we're going to do another big finale with all the brass and the choir. But just the absolute reality is that it's impossible to tour now and make money. So when I go on tour, I lose money. It's like another passion project. But we just really felt as a band that with the rise of AI, we want to get out and play live, even if we don't make loads of money or any money. So part of the challenge for that, again, will be for me to get merch organized, maybe even crowdfund the tour. We're not sure, but we're definitely going to be gigging. Unless, somebody says, I don't know, somebody like Nightwish or somebody like that said, will you support us on a tour? That'd be amazing. But, you never know.
You never know.
That's the plan. You never know. That's one thing I've learned. You never know. Amazing things happen if you ask.
Yes, yes, exactly. And we are still young, so we have a lot of time to make
not
some
sure, maybe you are.
I'm not much younger than you, so yeah. Yeah, we have so I have started podcasts when I was 42, something like that. So you're never too old for starting things like this. Kasia is a little bit younger than me, so but still, never stop dreaming.
Yeah, I will have a band.
I know we're kind of joking, but yeah, I did start this late in life, really. But I think it's important to. Somebody once said to me, "It's better to live." What is it? What did they say? I've got this wise saying now, and it's dropped out of my head. Because we all fear failure, right? And so the one thing I fear more than failure is regret. And I think that was the mindset was, if I get to the end of my days and I haven't tried to make a living from music, I will regret that more than if I'd tried and it had completely failed. And sort of dealing with failure is part of my daily job, problem solving. So I'd say if anybody's like me, has a thing like they're into whatever art they're into, and you're seeing the rise of AI and think, what's the point? There's absolutely a point. You just got to try stuff and see what works, just take a risk. Believe me, it's worth it.
Very inspiring. Yeah. Great. And okay, tell us what is next. So the first album, The Fellowship, we may be sure that there will be another 2 albums for sure, yes?
Yes, absolutely. So we've started writing The Two Towers. It probably won't be called The Two Towers. It'll be called something very similar. But we started writing it already. In fact, we've started writing stuff for Return of the King as well. We have some really, really amazing songs to come. So there's one I'm really excited about called How Can We See That Far? And it's the bit where Frodo and Sam are together, and Sam's saying, do you think they'll tell stories about us, and how do we end up in stories, and how can you see the end and all that? And we've written this just stunning ballad about that, so I'm really excited. And there's one about the Palantir as well that we've written, and some crazy instrumental stuff for Shelob and Shelob's Lair. So yeah, so we're excited because I'm finally finished The Fellowship and I'm back where I like to be the best, which is actually creating the music.
Okay.
So.
And what will be the title? Because if the first one connected to the first book is Fellowship, the second will be 2, and the third will be Return.
I don't know. If you have any ideas, let me know. I thought maybe I'd go with 2 Powers instead of 2 Towers, but I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a think about it, because what we're thinking for the album is to, rather than do what Tolkien does, which is do interlacing, we'd split the album in half and do one about Orthanc and the other one about Minas Morgul. So one's basically Merry and Pippin and all that kind of stuff, and the other one is Sam and Frodo. So split the album down the middle. So probably I might go try and think of something that goes with that title so that Tolkien fans know what it is, but I'm not using a copyrighted thing. These are the challenges we face.
I'm really curious about a song about battles. So the Helm's Deep, and I think they will be heavier. So that's. I hope so, but I will not.
We've got one for Helm's Deep. Okay. It's amazing. I'm going to say, I can say it's amazing because I didn't write it. The drummer wrote most of it, and the singing, the chorus goes, Ore en tu lugar, they may come again.
Okay.
So come on.
Great. Yeah.
It's going to be an epic one. So.
And what is the plan? I mean, timely. So when do you want to start crowdfunding, and how it works?
Yeah. I know better than to say when it's going to be out, because whenever I've set a date, it's always later. In my mind, it takes us about 2 years to do an album. So I'm going to leave it as vague as that, but we are working on it all the time now. We meet every Thursday. We've got writing weekends booked in. So I'm going to do it as quick as I can. In terms of crowdfunding, I'm probably going to, for this one, I'm going to do it later when we've almost done everything, rather than do it the way I did the last one, which is crowdfund it. And then it took me so long to finish the album. I have people like going, hey, where's the album? Are you ever going to finish it? I'm like, I know, I'm really trying so hard to finish it. So I don't want to be in that situation again. But yeah, I'll let you guys know. If people go on my website, there's a little news page where I update that most weeks with progress things, or you can join the mailing list as well. So
you can always tell the people, don't be hasty.
Don't be, yeah.
In slow, low voice, don't be hasty.
Yeah, most people get it, but some people do get kind of mad. And I think it's mainly people who don't really understand just the Herculean effort it is to do an epic album with all that brass and all those strings, and just the sheer time of just listening to each part already adds up to thousands of hours. That's just to listen to each part once to check they're okay. So, I think my curse is just with every album I get more ambitious. So, and we get more and more instruments in and more players. So, it's never a 5-minute job.
Good direction from my point of view. So, I like it.
I know you'll be cheering me from the sidelines. I know. Yeah,
of course. Okay, Kasia.
I'm working in the video games industry, and when I started, and I discovered that to create a big game title, it takes like 7 to 8 years. It's so much stuff.
So much work.
Yeah, making the album 2 years sounds reasonable.
So, are you a programmer or a designer?
I'm the project manager, and I work for programmers, and we have a game engine. In Ubisoft. Also.
Oh yeah.
Far Cry or Assassin's Creed.
Amazing. Very cool.
And you mentioned before that we can go on your website to see your work, but is it the only place that our listeners can find you?
Yeah, so you can go to davebrons.com to for most stuff like the mailing list, but for European listeners, it's best to go to Bandcamp, because when you buy from Bandcamp, they sort out the European taxes and stuff like that, which means you won't have to pay any extra costs when the stuff arrives in Europe. Unfortunately, because of Brexit, all that stuff is really complicated. But fortunately, Bandcamp handle that all that taxation and stuff out, and then I just put a load of forms on it to make sure you get it. So davebrons.com or bandcamp.com.
Okay. We strongly recommend to our listeners to check, to buy some Dave Brons music, because it's really, really great, and it's all about Tolkien. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we love, and the music is really, really great, and it tells story. So that's the point. Really, really enjoyed the music. Okay, links to all the places David mentioned will of course be available in the show notes for this episode, and they will also be posted on our social media channels, so you can find it very easily. And Dave, at this point, we'd like to thank you very much for the conversation and for stopping by our inn. So it's been a true pleasure for us, and we hope to see you live in person sometime soon.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Well, thanks for having me, and I will now say the only Polish word I know, dziękuję.
Oh, thank you very much. Great. Okay, that is the end of today's episode. Thank you very much for your time at the Green Dragon Inn, and remember, we are waiting for your comments and questions. And don't forget to click subscribe and like buttons on our channels.
Notes and other material used in this episode can be found in the description of the episode on our website. There you can also find our Tolkien collection, a full, very rich library of books and other media we use to create the podcast.
In the next episode, we are coming back to the Great River chapter, and Argonath is on the way. So, see you in the Green Dragon Inn next week. And as Gandalf said,
may the wind under your wings bear you where the sun sails and the moon walks.